Some of you, I'm sure, no doubt, have seen some of this or read about it, but earlier this month, a professor at Hunter College, Shalene Rodriguez, was caught literally on camera spewing an expletive-filled tirade against some pro-life students who just had a display. They were students for life. If we could, let's play clip number 3.
I think she was mostly offended by our general presence on campus. Our tabling was mainly about chemical abortions and the harms of chemical abortions for mothers and for the children involved. But I don't know if she looked at our supplies before she came and started to berate us.
All right, we played that clip a little bit earlier. I wanted you to see it again because that was one of the students that was actually at the table, the display, and this professor comes and just throws everything off the table in an expletive-filled tirade, as I referenced it a while ago. And then a couple of days later, she was confronted by a New York Post reporter who was asking about the incident. And during the conversation with the reporter, Professor Rodriguez literally wielded a machete at the reporter's neck. Yes, friends, you heard that right. She came out of her apartment with a machete, held it to the neck of the reporter, threatening to chop him up if he didn't, again, with many expletives, leave the place. So hours later, Hunter College did fire this professor, rightfully so. But is this what our colleges are turning into? Is this what we should expect from the likes of conservative students on campus being treated like this? Well, joining me now to discuss this and more is Caleb Dalton. He is a senior counsel at Alliance Defending Freedom's Center for Academic Freedom. Caleb, welcome back to Washington Watch. Good to have you.
Jody, thanks so much for having me. Appreciate it.
Well, it's our honor indeed. All right, let's just kind of clarify for the audience here. The students were tabling their chapter of Students for Life. They had every right to do so on this college campus before this professor at the school comes and literally loses it on them. But they had the right to be there, correct?
Absolutely. Students have the right to participate in the marketplace of ideas at public universities. And in fact, that's what universities should be about. It's what professors should be promoting: dialogue about ideas, important ideas that our whole society is considering right now. This professor went way beyond that. She didn't want to just engage in dialogue. She tried to shut these students down by throwing their literature across their table, engaging in this expletive-filled tirade against them. That's not free speech. That's censorship. That's actually assault and damaging somebody else's property there. And then obviously you saw just how unhinged this particular professor is when she assaulted that reporter with a machete. That's just insane. So yeah, unfortunately, a lot of students like Patrick with Students for Life there at Hunter College are facing this type of hostility when they speak out and just try to present an alternative view on these leftist campuses.
Well, and that's the point that I want to deal with and drive home, and I appreciate you going there. The First Amendment at one time was revered in our college universities and by to college students. And yet we are watching the exact opposite now in this era of cancel culture. What do we make of all of this?
Some of it, you have to go back and look at ideology. What is driving this? And a lot of it goes back to a philosophy that is being taught on campus. And that philosophy is that speech that you don't like actually physically harms you. And because it physically harms you, it's acceptable to engage in violence to stop speech. That is a dangerous ideology to the furtherance of democracy and freedom in any society, because free speech is a bedrock of every society that is to remain free. It should be even more so on a university campus, right? So a lot of students are being taught this philosophy that it's okay to react violently against speech that you don't like. We even saw this out in California a few years ago with another Students for Life group that we represented. A professor came out and he first sent his class out to erase pro-life messages that the students had written on the sidewalk in chalk. They were allowed to do that. It's part of the free speech program there on campus. And the professor not only sent his students out there, then he came himself and started erasing these messages and told the students, you don't understand. A college is not a free speech area. That's what he told the students. That's a dangerous philosophy to be prevalent on universities today, because that's the opposite of the truth. Universities
Absolutely.
are to be the free marketplace of ideas.
Absolutely, and it's a one-sided issue all the way around. Had it been a bunch of pro-abortionists out there, they would have been given every freedom in the world. It's just a specific type of message that they are shutting down. Caleb, our time, unfortunately, is wrapping up here. Where can our audience go to reach out to the Center for Academic Freedom if they encounter something similar to this situation where professors are targeting students who may be pro-life or conservative? How can they get some help and reach out to you?
Absolutely. If you go to adflegal.org, that's Alliance Defending Freedom, but adflegal.org. And up on the top, there's a banner, a red button, get help, get legal help. Just click on that. Let us know about your situation. We're happy to look into it.
Caleb, Dalton, thank you so much for all the work that you and ADF do. We love you guys. Thank you for joining us on Washington Watch.
Thanks for having me.